Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical, and today I'm bringing you the internet's most comprehensive video on combat footwear. Now, what we've got here are 7 pairs of shoes and boots that are designed for, or the best available in the modern world today for non-permissive environments, specifically for the modern warfighter. But what I will say is these are also great for preppers, or for people that are maybe hunters, really in any non-permissive environment, and anyone that really wants to be serious about their footwear. I'm gonna cover everything you need to know about footwear, athletic performance, and being as effective as possible with your footwear, being even more effective, being a better operator based off of your footwear. We're gonna discuss what to look for in a boot or a shoe, why choose a boot or a shoe. I'm gonna show you the best that there are available, hands down, the actual very best point blank period that there is available today. And then I'm gonna show you not only the best, but the best for each environment. So if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that in this exact video, I'm not only gonna discuss the theory of combat footwear, boots and shoes, I'm also gonna be revealing what's best for you, the exact make and model that's best for you, and why it's best for you. So stay tuned. The first two, little spoiler alert here, the first 2 pairs, there's 7 pairs here. The first 2 are not highly recommended, and they're examples of some shoes and boots that I've tried in the past. I will give another disclaimer here. A lot of people are gonna comment on this video and say, and they're gonna name a fad, a boot fad or shoe fad or something that's popular in the tactical community, quite frankly, that sucks. And I'm gonna get that out of the way right now. I've tried everything, I've used everything, and I'm talking here from experience of being overseas, hardcore conditions, and having to rely on my footwear to get from point A to point B, and not being able to be slowed down, or risking, death to escape an evasion. Been there, done that, and there's nothing more important than the shoes on your feet. So getting right into it, I will say the shoes that are not here on the table are Salomon, Lelo tactical fad brands, right? The stuff that all you guys in the tactical community are trying out. I was a proponent of Salomon for many years. They have some good designs. They made some great shoes. Their quality went down, and I just had too many Salomon shoes and boots fail me in really rough situations, and don't use them at all anymore. Will not wear or buy or promote a pair of Salomons. Personal choice. Lelo Tactical sent me a bunch of shoes. They had some cool workout shoes, but their boots were the worst boots I've ever used, and they were designed for Navy SEALs, designed specifically for Navy SEALs, and they're the worst combat boots. A Navy SEAL would be the worst thing that they've ever decided to use as a piece of kit or gear if they used the boots that were supposedly designed for them. But we won't get into the details of that, because what I'm gonna discuss is exactly what's here on the table. Now, forget about the fads, and those of you commenting below, I only wear Salomons. I hope you open your mind because we've got a lot better to discuss. Now, there are some things discussing that we can take specifically from the civilian community. Let's say you tactical and military guys, there's a lot we can take from the civilian community. And some of those things are brands. And this is a good example of a good brand of shoes that we can take from the civilian community. I believe these are Salewa. I've worn these a few times, and I will double check that I'm pretty sure these are Salewa. Anyway, I've had a lot of these, and these are like a climbing, outdoor hiking shoe company, and they have great tread. They're very strong, very well built. The reason I don't like this particular pair, and this is a teaching point here, an example, the low top is so low that it doesn't have and so open that it doesn't have enough of a good lacing system to really secure your foot inside the shoe. So I just don't wear these that much. It's an amazing shoe, design flaw. So it's an amazingly produced shoe, and Salewa does a good job. But I think they're a great boot company, but what they ended up kind of not getting this one right, trying to make a low top. I'm sure they've got some good low tops by now, but I wouldn't recommend ordering these off the internet. It's something you should try on first. That's just a small recommendation. And in discussing principle, so they've got great flex, okay? They're very light, all things you wanna look for. Flex, they're light. They have incredible bottom portion here, great tread, well built, great materials, very strong, reinforced here. light and breathable here with more reinforcing. They did all the right stuff, except they made it too much of a low top. It could have been an incredible shoe, but it wasn't. This is another example of what the tactical community, what we can take from hiking and backpacking people, or what we would consider to be civilians. And this is the 510 is the brand, Camp 4. And I've had good use with these. They were just an all-around average shoe. And the one thing, they had just enough height to where the foot fit in well. Everything very well built, very tough, super heavy duty, some kind of a TPU rubber all the way around. This support right here is very important to tie in, put pressure when I tie it tight, put pressure on the Achilles tendon and keep your foot in that boot. Lots of flex, very light, great materials, good construction. The only thing with this one is the design is very wide. It's a very wide shoe. It's extremely wide. You can see the difference here in the same size of the Salewa and the 510, and the 510 Camp 4 is just super wide, okay? And now if you guys have wide feet, some of you may have wide feet, so check that out, 510 Camp 4. Otherwise, the rest of you, you're probably gonna get some foot slippage in there, and it's not the greatest thing. Moving right along, we did discuss in the first episode of this video, Asics shoes. I'm not gonna cover Asics a bunch. I'm gonna talk very briefly of Asics. I'm only including them because I always have at least 2 pairs of Asics anywhere I go. I order 2 pairs of the exact same. When I'm overseas, when I'm in the States, no matter where I'm at, I keep 2 pairs. I have 1 pair that I use daily, almost every day, and then another identical pair for if anything goes, wrong with them. They're not that expensive. They do have a problem with this part right here. They always seem to come loose. This little thing right here always seems to come loose. And really, otherwise, they're super light, very well built, absolutely incredible ergonomic design. They're just not the most durable shoe ever, but for the price, they're great. Now, would I recommend these in mountainous terrain? Probably not, because they're a little bit light. They do rip very easily with rocks or heavy foliage, thorn bushes and stuff like that. So definitely had to give the mention of Asics. Check them out if you like a everyday shoe. But again, this is a combat footwear video, and this would be the absolute minimum, and I really would want something I would want a lot more protection, because anything hot will fall on here and go right through, and it's very little protection. It's the minimum that I would recommend for daily use, but they are very comfortable, very light. I would say that if maybe somebody in our modern combat world who is in a very gray man type role might want a shoe like that, or in an urban area, someone might serve someone well, maybe an off-duty police officer or something, or overseas in a combat role, it would be somebody that is a plainclothes civilian working in a city type area. Anyway, let's move into the more hardcore stuff. The minimum that I would recommend for somebody that's running and gunning in a rural environment, absolute minimum would be something like this Adidas Gore-Tex waterproof Terex, okay? And I have used these quite a bit. They're a little stiff, okay? They're a little stiff. It's really my only complaint, but they do have that incredible bottom grip structure, outsole, very good construction, incredibly tough toe, rubber, so it's not like a steel toe, which I don't like. Steel toes can be a problem. If something falls on a steel toe, it can make the issue worse if it's heavy enough to crush the steel toe. But very tough, very thick, a very similar shoe to the Asics, but a beefed up, tougher version. Heavier, but much stronger, waterproof, and this would be what I would actually recommend as an absolute minimum. If you're gonna be in an environment and you're gonna wanna try and retain somewhat of a gray man, but you're gonna wanna be going and transitioning from rural to urban without having to go full on military looking boots, this is probably your best option and your last option, because from here to get any tougher, more protection, you're gonna want definitely to get into our next 3, which are the actual boots. And if you're gonna be running and gunning, going hard, or in strictly rural terrain, what we think of in our minds when we think of modern combat, like a lot of people would in our modern world would think Afghanistan versus necessarily an Iraq type situation, where Iraq was a lot of city-based operations, but still a third world country. any kind of Middle East, any kind of Latin America, any kind of third world Asia, you would want to have boots, I would say. Again, unless you're going to be operating in the city quite a lot. I'll give a real quick shout out here to, before I jump into all of the boots, I'll discuss insoles. Now, really quickly, insoles are incredibly important. This is soft sole. I've used this so much that the actual lettering have fall out. It's outlasted shoes, SOF, SOLE, and insoles are so important. I almost always change out my insole unless it's an Asics, which the Asics are so light that they actually mold to my foot, and they also, because of that, they kind of break down quickly. I only use a pair for about 3 months, but I don't have to change insoles in those. Anyway, otherwise, I would recommend changing insoles because most important thing with an insole is arch support, okay? Arch support, arch support. And you want to look for something like this right here that has this hard plastic arch support, because they make shoes, they make footwear to fit everyone, okay? And they don't put arch support in there because there's flat-footed people. So that's why the bottom of the shoe is flat. But unless you're incredibly flat-footed to where it's a problem, then you want to put insoles in your shoe to give yourself some arch support so you're not dealing with plantar fasciitis and things like that. Incredibly important. Now, the minimum boot that I would recommend, and they don't make these anymore, unfortunately, but bear with me because I will get into the best boots today that they are point blank period on the market for combat, and just hands down the best boots period, right? These were my favorite boot for many years. I wore them so much that the bottom of the shoes are actually stitched on now. I think it was this one that fell off. You can see here, actually they both. You can see here, I had to stitch back on with heavy duty thread the soles that came off, and they came off because of extreme heat and the glue came loose. And I glued them and stitched them back on, and I still use these as a backup pair of boots. I usually keep these in like either a bug out bag or in thrown under the seat of a vehicle or something like that, for if I need to grab a pair of boots or chains of shoes, or my shoes that are on my feet go down. So watch the old video if you want to know what those were. They don't even make them anymore. They don't sell them anymore. But now let's discuss Loas. All right. These Loas have seen it all, okay? You can, interestingly enough, you can see on the bottom of this boot here that the tread is actually breaking off right here, okay? The tread's breaking off and the soles are breaking off, but they have not failed me yet. And this is we're going from least hardcore to most hardcore. This is the light Loa, and still this is like a transitional boot to where I'm going to be going from third world country type area, city operations, possibly towards half and half maybe. But I really like it because it's so light, incredibly ergonomic, waterproof, okay, great. It has the reinforcement in all the right areas, great. Everything really about it, the ergonomics, the construction, the durability, everything's good for what it is. It's always a balance between a boot being light and a boot being durable. So the next up version from this is the Inex Pro. So this is the light version, and then the Task Force is heavier. This is the Zephyr, excuse me. So this is the Inox, right? Loa. So this one I've been wearing for years. And it's got a very tough fabric, but very thin, breathable, and also waterproof. Pretty great. I ended up getting these because I was doing a lot of creek crossings with these. And also they did start falling apart a little bit, right? Nothing lasts forever. These didn't last as tough or as long as the New Balances I had, but they're not falling apart in a way that they're gonna risking not working or something like that. It's not a failure, they're just breaking down. It's not a failure that's gonna affect my performance. Then this one is just way more hardcore. Remember, as I said, everything is a balance. And in this case, the balance is whether you wanna be a little bit faster, a little bit lighter, a little bit more comfortable, less break-in time, but you're risking durability and protection. Or whether you wanna really have to break in the boot more, you want more protection, a little bit less comfort, a little bit less speed, but more well protected More waterproof up to about this level here, waterproof to a higher level for small creek crossings, stuff like that. And definitely more protection, a boot that'll last longer. Then this is what you want. And this is the ultimate. Any more than this, and you're risking too much speed, you're risking too much agility, stuff that's so important in today's modern combat scenario, okay? This is a tougher boot because we can see here that the outsole is very much more built up with all of this heavy duty TPU rubber all around here that this one does not have. Okay, this one has a lighter version of the stuff, but it's kind of collapsing and falling apart, but still good, okay? Just not as good. This one, for example, is a little bit less impact resistant maybe, but still both great boots. It really, at this point, is personal preference and where you're gonna be operating. If I'm gonna be super extreme, heavy, dense jungles or really mountainous terrain, especially if it's not incredibly hot, I'm gonna use this, but I also use this in dense jungles and mountainous terrain where it is hot. So at this point, it's your choice. These are, in my opinion, the best boots on the market. I had to change the laces on these because I did burn the lace while I was welding. And I will close out with saying the only people that may not like these boots or consider them to be the best boots are, they might not be the best boots for the job site. So as far as like a construction or a welder, then we're gonna have to discuss other types of footwear because these are definitely not the best for that. If you guys do wanna know more about that, comment below and let me know that you wanna see a video on workwear, on footwear for the workshop, knives, grinding knives, making knife making, all that kind of stuff, building, fabricating, welding. You guys know I'm a jack of all trades. So I do enjoy the work stuff. I'm building a massive workshop right now, my dream shop, a new facility for Bone Tactical. So doing a lot of work, all the construction myself, everything, fabricating everything myself, everything. So learning a lot from there. Definitely check out that series every Wednesday on the channel. We either are posting or posted, depending when this comes out. We're posting a video every Wednesday on the shop build, really cool stuff. But stay tuned and get involved and let me know if you like this video and what type of footwear you want me to do on the next installment. Thanks for watching. Bone out.